And off we go. Losers bracket semi-finals. It's not the quarterfinals. It's the semi-finals. And we're off to the races. Oh, it's wrong here. That's why. We're off to the races here. In the right-hand corner of the map, playing as Oranos. Fresh off his win earlier on today against Moscow. It's Tag's very own Recon. In the left-hand corner of the map, in the red color, playing as Gaia. His name is Grass. And everything is working perfectly here. I am a professional, I swear. Even if I'm not a professional, I'm doing my best. And that's all that matters. That's all we can ask from these players as well. So, our first game here, 0-0. What is the game plan? As far as I'm concerned, there are two ways through this matchup early on for Gaia and for Oranos. Either you spam a ton of Terma and you try and get there first, so you advance really, really fast, and you go for a Terma spam and you try and lock your opponent in their base with pure pressure. Or you go for a Murmillo spam, of which is perfectly fine and reasonable. The other angle here is to go, and you both go Oceanus in those angles, right? The other angle is to play a Prometheus game. I have seen Recon playing the Prometheus angle in this one, but it is difficult. It is difficult. So we'll see how things are going to go here. Another angle could be to attempt a fast second town center as the Oranos and completely flip the script, but it is risky. Recon picking Oceanus. I'm not surprised to see this here. Now, there's a lot of talk, so to speak, about practice and what these guys practice partners. I don't know if Grass and Recon are practice partners. They're kind of in a different time zone to some degree. If they want to play against each other, they have to play at slightly odd times. I know that Recon would have been practicing against people like Rappel, potentially like a Soup or something like that, against maybe a Kavoth, maybe a Matador here or there, but not really sure if he would be playing against Grass. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, because generally if you are playing versus practice partner, you start to see things that pop up a little bit more often than others. Like you see them playing the same strategies or the same types of ideas. As both players are going to be going Oceanus. Grass here has himself pickaxe, has himself hand axe. And we'll see how things are going to go. Over on this side, we have Demeter's Throne. Economic manners, everything cheaper. Over on the left side, we've got ourselves the Sharon's Oval. Citizens returning some resources. And other relics that are being picked up so far for Recon. He's got himself the Tearfing Angantyr sword. That one's really, really nice. And we are going to be seeing the Murmillo spammage from Recon. Now, as you're the player on the defense, I gotta think about this option here. I'm gonna throw out one random other idea. What if, as Gaia, instead of spamming Murmillo, we build some hero Karabalista and Terma? Is it too slow? I don't know. You're playing defense. You're playing defense. You have to build hero Karabalista, otherwise the Carnivora comes down, eats it up, and then you're very, very sad. Now, of course, a hero Karabalista is very, very expensive, but it will put a complete stop in the aggressive advances of a Oranos player. Nonetheless, both players have got their hero Murmillos out, and it's starting to become very obvious to me that we probably do have ourselves a practice partner here. They both do exactly the same thing early on. So, see, I told you it's going to be similar. It's just what happens. As now, Grass has to be very, very respectful. This is the hard part. when you're playing Gaia, you don't really know when you have the advantage, when you start going for the attack. One simple way to play this is to play defense and just get yourself economic upgrades. Try not to lose any units. We do have over onto this side. The Oracle here does get pacified up as the Mermillo heroes trying to get in here, but the Caladria come forward. Nice health coming back in. Keeps that one alive. And Recon's out of here. And Recon is out of here. Shennong's Okra Whip also getting left stranded. An amazing relic for much later in the game, but very, very good. Must get picked up. I'm surprised to see Grass ignoring it. One thing is, it's funny. One thing that is often the case is that during practice, players just, they decide to not pick up relics. They say no relics in our practice sessions so that they can get a good feel for the matchup and not get anything influenced by a specific relic or not. Because obviously that relic is one in every, 50 games, whereas the matchup is the same for the other 49 games, right? But there's no excuse in a tournament to leave it there. Nonetheless, the Mermillos are coming in to try and hit this Sky Passage, and Recon is going to be letting it die. Meanwhile, up onto this side, we do have the Mermillos of Recon managing to spot Oracle. Snipes that one. That's a big find. Less Oracles means less Caladria and also less Carnivora, which is a really big deal as the villagers will turn and shank. And this is something that I'm sure Recon's going to be perfectly happy to deal with. He runs up to the top, makes sure he stays off of that Gaia Lush. At the moment, Grass doesn't have himself channel, so it's not that big of a deal. Over onto this side, the Sky Passage getting targeted down, and Recon decides he would rather run over here than jump into his Sky Passage. Villagers coming in, simply going to be enjoying their life for the time being. Now, Medium Mermillos is in. And once you have the Sky Passages up here for Recon, I feel like there's no excuses to not go for a Caraballister or two. Because if even, how do I put this? You don't even have to heroize them. So long as you just leave them in the Sky Passage, your opponent drops a Carnivora down to try and kill them when they drop out. You just garrison them. They garrison immediately. So you can dodge the special attack of a Gaia Carnivora. It's up onto this side though. Recon charging in. Looks like it's going to be a citizen pick. No, doesn't quite get there. Yes, he does. He picks the citizen, but a Mermillo hero will go down. That's not the worst trade there. That's a pretty nice trade. While this is going on, however, we do have a bit of an attack onto this position as the Carnivora gets dropped down, and that's going to force Grass back. We do have the Shockwave to come down to try and pick off another unit. Another Carnivora down from Grass here as well, as Recon going to turn and try and take this one out. How many Caladria over here? There's 2 Caladria for both players, as at any point here, Recon can start pulling his Mermillos back into the Sky Passage and keeping them all very, very healthy, sacking this position, maybe sending a Sky Passage up to the top side, and then healing up in his main base, no problems. He's coming back over onto this side. Citizen getting low HP here. It's getting chased around. Grass has got more. He's just got more units here. Without a question, he's got more units. And Recon is going to bail back into his main base. But look at this from Grass while this is going on. Mermillo coming over onto this side. Recon not moving off of the wood line. And the mana for Recon will be going down as he's got to bail out. And for the moment, he is completely strangled. Recon might just be losing game number 1 here. He is completely strangled. The citizens making their way up to this top side. The Mermillo is coming over here. Of course, he can drop a... Oh my god, I'm dying. Of course, he can drop a Sky Passage here if he wants to bail back home. But this is very, very, very bad for Recon, as the Mermillo numbers are just favoring Grass at the moment. Turns in to take the fight. There's no Carnivora. There's no Shockwave. Murmillo's, this is just a one game for Grass. Recon has dropped game number 1. I don't see him continuing here. He turns and starts shanking with the citizens, but there's so many Murmillo here for Grass, and he's going to lose all of his citizens, and he taps out without even making a single Caraballister. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. This isn't. I'm going to be very straight up with you. This is not the way to play this matchup, and I've never seen any high-level Oranos player playing without Caraballister. If you're going to build Sky Passage, you build Caraballister because it's so obscenely strong. I don't understand. My brain hurts. All right. Well played to Grass, though. He managed to make pure Murmillo work, and he managed to actually... I mean, to some degree, you have to think about this and you go, why does Grass have more stuff than Recon here? And the main reason is that Recon's building Sky Passages. So yes, Recon gets onto his hunt kind of faster, but he has to spend more resources on the Sky Passages, whereas Grass just walks from like over here over to here, and it's not even that far. So like, I mean, like look at the resource differential actually. You can see him just coming so far in front. But it also does end up being just a gigantic military advantage here. I guess maybe there was some upgrades that Recon bought that maybe that Grass didn't. I don't know. But first win here for Grass. He's looking incredibly strong. He's been playing a really, really good series so far. Let's jump back over to the draft and see what we're going to see for game number... Oh, I almost did it. For game number 2. Alrighty, we're going to go in onto the map Gorge. It's going to be a Ra versus Poseidon matchup. And the first win for Gaia. A Ra... Oh, Kronos. A Ra versus Poseidon matchup on the map George of the Jungle. Alrighty. So the players are off to the races, it looks like. Boit big head. That's right. I'll go like this. Go like this. Alright, we got 1 minute and 30 seconds into our next game. So yeah, we got a Ra versus Poseidon matchup. This is kind of a classic matchup. This goes back to the days of Matrius versus Chemo in Legacy, where they would just spam this matchup on repeat. Head-to-head Boit versus Chemo. I don't know if this works or not, but we could check it out. Hang on, let's have a look. I don't know if it works. I really shouldn't be doing this live on stream, but I don't know if it works, but does it? All right. I've stroked my ego enough there. Let's get back to the let's get back to let's get back to the thing. What was it? Recon and who? Who's playing in this game? It's Grass. My brain has left my body. Did I change this as well? I did. Okay, happy days. Alrighty, so George of the Jungle is our next map, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to forget to hit the button correctly. And off we go. Let's go to Gorge. George? Gorge? And off we go into the left-hand corner of the map. We do have Grass playing as Poseidon, and we have ourselves at the top of the map, Recon playing Ra. On the map, George of the Jungle. Our first one was pretty decisive. I have to say, a bit of a throwaway game there, I think, from Recon. I have not ever seen Recon playing Oranos at a super... I've just not been seeing Recon's Oranos having success. I think I'm going to word it that way. I have not seen Recon's Oranos having success, and he didn't manage to take any advantages from the Oranos in that first game, and Grass just played in a spectacular game of Gaia. This game, however, Recon is on one of his power picks. He's on his Ra. It's a long series. It's a best of 7. A very long series. So you got to approach it like a marathon. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Hestia's Hearth over here. Minus 5% of base for the villagers' train time. Over on this side, we've got the Girdle of Hippolyta. For some reason, I said that in an American accent. We got the hit points plus 10% there for the ranged soldiers. Up onto this top side, we have the Dwarven Horseshoes, which is plus 5% of the base there for the movement speed. And up here, we have Jade Hair, which is plus 5% move speed for the myth unit. Some very, very good relics. Now, the big question I've got is Recon going to play Bast here? It's his playstyle. He loves Bast, but he got absolutely destroyed in the last time he tried to use Bast. But as a different player, different situation, he's got to back himself in what he knows, and he knows Bast. He also knows Tar to some degree, so long as it's a 2-town center type deal. On the flip side, there is an angle to go Ares here. The map is slightly closer together from your spawn to your opponent's spawn, but Hermes is generally the better option here against Ra for many, many different reasons. And we do see... Whoop. See, he goes Bast so often. He misclicked on Thor and he misclicked on Bast and chose Thor there. Wild. As the houses slowly starting to come up. Now, one thing you can do here against the Centaur, early Centaur is... Oh, I love this Katoskopos here. One thing you can do versus the early Centaur is bring your villagers forward and spam these houses out. Nonetheless, the priest coming in. Looking to harass this. Doing as much pressure as he possibly can. Denying the houses from getting spammed up. This is going to be pretty brutal to deal with as Recon is pumping out priests here. This is the standard response to an early advance from Poseidon. See if he's going to be able to actually deal with all of this as the Centaur now starting to ride forward. As the Centaur drops the special ability off, and basically 3 priests are more than enough with a Wadget to push this back. Now, the question is, what is Recon going to do after this? Now, I'm going to expect he builds a whole bunch of spearmen, and then he moves for his second town center. On the side of Grass, you almost don't even need to start building yourself any hippies. You can put the stable down and just call it a quits there, as this villager decided she wanted in on the action before saying, no, I'm not that type. I'm not built that way. Let's do something different. As the hero is going to start beating away onto this house, but the priests are there, and just taking free damage is not ideal. Some more spearmen are going to be coming through. Up to the top side, we got the spearmen looking for a little love tap onto this Katoskopos potentially, and taking out his and getting access to this top position. If we take a look at what Recon actually sees here, it's a great town center. The spearmen coming in, and is that a dead Katoskopos? Oh, it's close. It's not. It's 2 HP, but it might fall as it's running up to the top side. There it goes down up onto this top side. How are you not picking up Hestia's Hearth here? I'm not okay with that. Such a good relic. Anyways, in onto this position. Can't waste any time picking up relics we don't want. Charges in, gets a little bit of damage onto the villagers. Up to the top side, still looking for some pressure as this one spearman does get spotted, and this spearman over here needs to get brought back home. However, not a terrible fight here for Recon, as he's going to be able to take out the priest there. This priest over here, however, under some pressure, as he will be able to heal it up. He will be able to get everyone back up to full HP. Continuing along here with the spearman spam as he's slowly working towards, I have to imagine he's working towards a town center. Like one barracks, he's got an armory to try and go to the next age, but yeah, this has to be a town center. He's coming over here to grab this position. It's nice. He's got boars. On the other side here, we're also going to see Grass doing the same thing, going for this town center. A very, very stock standard opening from both players here. Now the question is, does Recon, surely he wins this. He's got the answer for the centaur. He's got the answer for the Hippias. Of course, the centaur an answer for the spearman, but just one can't be enough. As the Hippias charging forward, the spearman in onto that backside, getting that damage done. The priest try and charge forward. He can heal up his spearman if he wants to. The priest over here getting targeted down. Villagers pulling back as they want to try and keep everyone alive. The Shank's coming in. He doesn't have himself the skin of the rhino, but the priests are going to be healing up everyone back up to full HP, and Grass loses everything. Spearman over here going to take a little bit of damage, but the priest can just get him back up to full HP. This one low HP villager is scaring me, as Theseus versus healing. Healing wins out, and Theseus will be dying. And as you can see, by the master at work, to all players out there now wanting to play some Ra and getting beaten up while having a forward gold mine, you know who I'm talking to. There's one person in particular, not going to say a name, but look at how he dealt with it. Priest, spearman, one barracks only. And he just wanders over here, and he's good to go. Now, that being said, Grass here, he also has his town center up. So it's not necessarily an advantage one way or the other. It's just an equal situation. And that's what you want here as Ra. You want to be in an equal situation, because this is where you're strong. Because Poseidon needs to get that front foot to get a big advantage cooking. You guys have no idea who I'm talking about. I just like throwing stuff out there. It's fine. Nonetheless, the Recon scouting mission coming through. He will be able to see the town center and know exactly what he's coming up against. The one scary thing I think for Recon here is if potentially Grass went for somewhat of a fast heroic and then looks to slap a Migdol down, or not a Migdol, but a fortress down or something like that. As the spearman up to the top side. He's got to be careful here, as Centaur are an amazing response to spearman raids. And you can't really raid with priests either, so you've got to be super careful with where you make those movements. And now the obelisk. They did the thing again. Recon is blue, but player 2. It's messing with my head. Recon is starting to light the map up. He's got the obelisks all over the place. Just trying to get information and prevent any sort of raids coming in. There's obviously walls coming up as well. Spamming a whole bunch of centaur in this position can be pretty difficult to make actually work, because the simple response from a Poseidon player, a Ra player, is to just build Betsukos, and they can deal with those centaur very, very easily. There's the spearman coming through. Grass not paying attention. And I feel like with that type of a move, Recon knows it, and ceasefire is forced. Ceasefire is forced. Walls up onto this bottom side, however, taking out the random wolves, so he doesn't have to deal with his villagers dying to them. Onto the backside, the spearman coming through there. But like I said, this is not really a smart move, as the centaur can chase these guys down and just continuously get damage. Any amount of micro here is going to completely shut this type of raid down, and this can be one of those moments where you just lose everything. Look at the walls coming up. Lock these units off. Wall this quick right now. A wall, a stable, and a house down over onto this side to prevent the units from running. Does Grass see it? He's running his villages. He's going to be losing a random Toxotes here. He doesn't see the option, and the spearmen manage to get out of here. Aphrodite is on the way. Sekhmet also on the way. Walls coming up for Recon over here. As the Sekhmet for Recon about to hit. So from here, ingoing Sekhmet's an interesting choice. I don't know if I agree with the Sekhmet, actually. This is surprising. Maybe the plan is to go into slingers here. I don't like it, though. He's got 80 favor in the bank. Are you going to make scarabs in this matchup? No ceasefire, maybe. A scarab all in could be very, very strong. He's building them. He wants them. Maybe this is the idea. A big shifting sands to take out a position could be the Recon plan. I don't know if this is a great idea, though, because he's going to shifting sands in, and then the centaur are just going to be able to kill off all of the spearmen with their special very, very quickly. Getting another scarab out. So much favor. Farms coming down as well. He can go into a rain here to sustain this type of a crazy attack. He's starting to make some axemen as well, as the spearmen trying to get just a little bit of knowledge over here. Do have the cheeky little fortress up onto this top side. I mean, what's the plan? Do you let the fortress go up and then you shifting sands on it with the scarabs? He's trying to hide them. Makes sense. But even if he kills off a town center, you have to remember that Grass gets militia. Even if he kills off a fortress, Grass gets militia. Like, you get 8 militia for losing a fortress. The militia are probably worth about 70 resources apiece. So, yeah, it's some damage, but if you lose any scarabs to do so, can't be worth it. Meanwhile, up onto the top. Grass pushing through this side. Like, if I'm Grass, I'm thinking, let me get myself Sylvan Law. Let me get myself as many Centaur out as I possibly can. Because you didn't go for Betsukos, these Centaur are going to be an amazing answer for all these spearmen. And he is starting to make more. Pegasus flying up onto this top side. Recon will get himself up his Migdol stronghold here. Should be nice for his gold, but Hippias is in to just check things out. Spearman coming forward. At any point, these scarabs are going to be able to get mass destruction in. Son of Osiris, or Osiris is coming in, which is going to be Son of Osiris as well. Villagers getting involved as the centaur over onto this side. He could bring those centaur back to deal with this while making a push with everything else. Does decide to drop a curse down, giving himself some pigs and hitting a lot of those units there. Of course, the scarabs also get stronger when you get to the mythic age. This could be nice. But Grass is... he's ready to just push. Of course, the Son of Osiris is going to be an answer for the Centaur, but you just can hide. You don't have to be close to the Son of Osiris with those Centaur. Just go elsewhere and attack something else. Main base under attack is Recon Well, he's not going Mythic Age in the Citadel Center, so he's safe if he end up losing it to Metropolis, but it's... I think it probably would have already been in if he got it in this Citadel rather than anything else. I guess he gets more villages for doing it this way, but still, Citadel Center under attack, Town Center over here getting grabbed. What is Recon's plan here as the Centaur coming in, the Scarabs coming around onto the backside here to help out on the fight, the Axemen fighting in, the Spearmen charging in onto every other side as Grass fighting underneath this Citadel Center. I can't see this going well for Grass. He's losing his every single Centaur. His population is staying somewhat strong here, but the Centaur aren't getting microed in the slightest as the Mythic Age does end up hitting here. Spearman coming around onto the side as the Citadel Centaur is at 300 HP. No empowerment from the Pharaoh though, as the Son of Osiris gets brought in and the Citadel Centaur does end up falling, but Recon gets so much value there and will immediately rebuild the town center. A wild attack from Grass, but he gets up the town center behind this. He has to somehow now deal with the Son of Osiris and everything else. He's making Hippias. He's making Hypaspist. Recon is going to push up here. He's got the Scarabs. Town center back up for Recon. Villager differential, 85 to 78. I mean, losing this position isn't actually the worst for Grass here, so long as he tries to keep these militia alive. Garrison in the town center and then run afterwards, or I guess run here and try and keep them alive. Town center going to go down. The villagers did manage to bail from this as well. So Grass, I think he's actually fine here. I think he's actually fine. The only thing that's scary is what is Recon's late game plan here with Osiris? He's gone Thor, Sekhmet, Osiris, which means he's got slightly better slingers, slightly better spearmen, slightly better axemen, and way better camel riders. Slightly better chariot archers, or nice chariot archers as well. The best type of chariot archers you can have with 21 range, but it's a mismatch of units. A mismatch of units. Gonna take this town center. On the other side, Grass obviously did not go Dionysus, but I think all he needs to do is like make this game, stretch this game out. You can stretch the game out far enough. No amount of advantage from Recon is really going to matter because he's going to get to full population, champion, full iron units very, very quickly with this Hephaestus that is now coming through. Recon needs to make something happen very, very quickly. Migdol Stronghold on the front makes sense. Migdol on the bottom falling really hurts Recon. Recon's got this gold mine. He's got this gold mine. They're about to expire. He's got the gold over here. He's got the gold over here. I'd love to see a market and starting trade here. As the hero come through, going to start taking out the Scarab. Not the biggest of deals, as there is a catapult in and more catapults to come. And Grass will grab the bottom town center. A shifting sands from Grass could be nice. But not from Grass, from Recon could be nice to deny this. He sees it. He very much sees it. He's got the double obelisks as well, so he knows what's going on over there. And a shifting sands will end up coming in onto this bottom position to take out all of these villages. No ceasefire available. That's the hit back, I think, that Recon really does need. And to deny this town center means he can push over here and start grabbing it for himself. However, the fortress also going down, but that will be some militia and an amazing push here now available for Grass. But he's not really wanting to make this as he's going Hephaestus. But the army does have to pull back. There's not that many units over here. The units are so far away from the action. It was a massive raid for Recon, but he's getting hit back at the moment. Can he take out the Son of Osiris? Does Grass, see it. Yes, he does. He needs to charge after it and get the surround, but he's not going for it. Just picking off the units for the time being. The blue units of Recon taking their time to get up there as we see Forge of Olympus coming through. Plenty Volt in. Grass hitting back at the moment. Champion Cavalry, Champion Infantry on the way. Migdol's Stronghold going down. This game goes one way and immediately comes back the other. Recon's got more economy, more tech, more everything, but that's about to flip. Once these army upgrades come for Grass, Recon has some catching up to do. Fortress going to be getting through here as well, and Recon can't push. However, he is grabbing this town center. Grass needs to send some units down there, but he's not got the scouting. A Pegasus to come over, potentially a Colossus to pop down on, and put it up to the top side. A Colossus down to the bottom would be enough to deny it indefinitely without any heroes to come up, as now some towers are starting to get moved in. More spearmen coming through here for Recon as this Son of Osiris dealing so much damage. Grass is pushing before his iron comes online, which is not what you really want to be doing here, but you also don't want to give time to the Ra to get everything sorted out. His army just getting battered away because of quantity and also the quality of that Son of Osiris. But every time he takes these fights, Recon has to rebuild his units, keeping him off of those very important upgrades. But the big problem is this town center finishing. That's going to be tough. Now, Grass getting himself copper shields. Not copper shields, iron shields. Iron weapons as well. Now going to be on the way. As well as ballistics. But the problem, and it's a big problem, is militarily, has a big difference. But unit cost-wise, Grass is kind of pulling his weight here. Even though he's behind a ton of population. Can his unit quality break through this is the question. Or should he think about, how do I get over onto this bottom side and cause some problems? Recon as well has got 100 favor. I'm surprised to see no mummies in here. Is there no reason for mummies? Is mummies the wrong call at the moment? Maybe extra rains wouldn't go astray here for Recon as well, for a huge amount of food income. He's got 38 farms, 34 villages on food here. Looks like he doesn't really need the resources, so it would just be for the bank after all is said and done, as some towers coming up onto the front. He does have the second temple up, so he can spam these mummies out very, very quickly. And to the bottom side, a couple of villages for Grass do get spotted as the mercenary cav come over there. And the game will end with Recon on top as Grass says, I can't break through the 4-town center Ra. So he almost manages to make it work here. He almost manages to get through this Ra powerhouse of Recon with his Poseidon, but just not quite able to. I think if he denied this town center, if he sent the Colossus just down to the bottom, instead of up to the top where it wasn't really useful, just down to the bottom to take down the town center or prevent the town center from going up, all of a sudden Grass is 190, 210 pop with full iron versus 235 pop Ra, which I think you can win, as Recon did not have his bronze weapons. Still a long way behind it. But nice try from Grass. Recon strikes back. We got ourselves a series here. These two players incredibly strong. Not much between them. Let's jump back over to the draft and see what they're going to pick for game number 3. Looks like we're going in onto the map Hideout. And it's going to be a Thor versus Odin game, as Recon has shown yet again, he's practiced some Norse on this map, but Recon is not the Odin in this one. Grass is. The win there for the Ra. And we have a Thor Odin matchup on Hideout. Alrighty. So a pretty crazy map here. Pretty crazy matchup. We've got Forest Fire ideas. We've got. I don't think we're going to see the Forest Fire to open up the forest. I don't think that's the right call here. But it might be. What if you Forest Fire and advance incredible? No, there's no point. Just go and put the temple on the other side of the map and just attack. There's just no point. I'm sorry. I wish. Like, you're one away from bingo. You'll know, transport ship. Transport ship. Bingo. We don't even have to get into it. Did I do it? I give someone else bingo? Oh dear. I need to fill up my water bottle. I'm out of water. But that's okay. But I do expect to see Freya here from both the Norse players. And actually, maybe from the Odin, Heimdall does make sense as well for the more boomy type ideas. Now, Recon does have a 1 win in a Norse mirror, but it was Freyr, who was a little bit of a different beast than Odin, and he's Thor and not Odin, which is another different beast than anything else. I think part of the reason why Norse is quite good here is because Norse actually does have quite a nice late game, and mid-game forest fires or even late game forest fires to open the map up makes a lot of sense here against some of the other gods. Kind of. Anyways. Hideout is our game number 3. I'm pretty excited to see this one, guys, because this is a map that we didn't get to see a huge amount in the tournament. So we saw it a couple of times, but we get to see it now. Let's jump into game number 3 and see who's going to be able to take the lead in this series. Onto the map, Hideout. And off we go. Off to the races in the left-hand corner of the map in the blue color, playing as Thor. His name is Recon. In the right-hand corner, playing as Odin. His name is Grass. So, we've seen a Norse mirror on this map before. And Recon played the other side of the Norse mirror. I'm going to jump to some conclusions here and try and use my powers of deduction to figure out what these two players are going to do here. Recon played Odin on this map before, and he played against Freyr, who's got access to Freya and access to Ulla. Thor does, and Odin went Heimdall, right? Recon doesn't have access to Heimdall, but he does have access to Freya. I think he's going to pick Freya here. Grass, on the other hand, he's also got access to Freya, but Recon picked Heimdall here. So I think he's going to pick Heimdall. Big brain. What is the best use of Forest Fire for Recon in this map? Why Forest Fire in this map for Recon? Well, Recon playing Thor has got a pretty big advantage over Odin early game and mid game as well to some degree. He's got the Dwarven Armory. With a Dwarven Armory comes a lot of advantage. You get yourself 1 to 4 early game dwarfs, depending on how greedy you want to go with it. And from there, you can find yourself some pretty big advantages. However, Odin does have the faster food gather rate with his bonus. You can see here at 0.99 food per second versus the 0.9 food per second. And you can find some early game advantages with that. However, if you're going to play Heimdall, those advantages don't really exist early game. Not really, at the very least. Meanwhile, we also see Recon playing incredibly defensive with his buildings because he knows there is potential here for Grass to just come over here, drop a temple, and play incredibly aggressively early on. So it completely takes away any sort of possibility of the Odin getting early game damage in. But Grass is just playing a stock standard advance, and I've nailed it. Let's go. I know some things. You can't say I don't know things because I do. I absolutely know everything. We got Heimdall. And we got Freya. Now, I'm going to throw another curly out there. Forest Fire on this map, not for here. Not for here. But for over here, or over here, or over here, or over here. Opening up a pathway into the main base of your opponent that doesn't open up a pathway into your base. I think that's a great plan. We'll see if Recon's going to go for that type of idea. He's obviously going to get his walls up, playing very, very defensively. Raven's just flapping around, doing what it can do, as we've got the walls coming through here as well. More dwarves coming out for Recon as the Raven... The Raven does end up going down. Huge loss there. There's a longhouse coming up for Recon. This is so defensive, and I love it. But look at this from Grass. Makes perfect sense. He scouts out the Dwarven Armory, and he goes, well, if you're going to go greedy on the Dwarven Armory, let me just drop a town center. And all of a sudden, the early game dwarf advantage that Recon gets is circumvented by the town center that's up for Grass, as Recon will scout this out, and either Recon has to go for an incredibly aggressive attack here, which he could do. Of course, he can always Forest Fire here and then go for it. Or he's got to go for a town center, which it looks like he's going to do. And by the time I think Grass's town center is done, Recon and Grass will have roughly the same amount of villages. On top of that, Rickstula will give Grass 2.4 town centers to Recon's 2. Now we got Hand Axe. We've also got Hammer of Thunder coming through for Recon. We got Pickaxe coming in for Grass. He's also got that Rickstula in queue. Quick way to get that technology in is to just shoot your animals quickly with your villagers. You don't really want to use your infantry units or your military units to attack the animals because you get a little bit less favor from it. But villagers get the full amount of favor, so it is well worth it to just go for that. It doesn't have the gold at the moment, so it's not that big of a rush. And you can see town center now started. Raven just flying over here saying, I see you. That's exactly what he sounds like. I could be wrong. That's exactly what he sounds like. Town center coming up for Recon, though. Haven't talked about the relics yet. 9 Cauldrons here is really, really nice for both players. You might think you wouldn't see Huskar in this matchup, but sometimes there is a time and a place for them. Up onto the top here, there's Fetters of Fenrir. Not that important. Up here we have text of Imhotep. Build time minus 10%. Could have been nice there for Grass early on. And Ankh of Ra is another relic that is a must grab. But for whatever reason, Grass, again, ignoring relics right under his face. But now the Rickstaller is in. Town Center about to be finished. And we'll see the Villager... I couldn't have been any more on it. The Villager differential is literally bang on equal when Recon's second Town Center comes up. Great Hall coming up. Walls all over the place for Grass. And just an absolutely wild game. Now, the question here is, do you go for a late game here as Thor? Ever? Do you go for a late game as Odin? Who wins the late game? Because if we're just going to boom, is there like a random timing that you get? A timing advantage that you get from playing Odin? I'm going to go out there and say there's always the option to go Njord here for Odin, which gives you a massive advantage army-wise. And the only problem is it's a disadvantage economy-wise versus something like a Skadi. You can get some nice things there to deal with your shenanigans. Up onto this side, we do have ourselves the wall going up. Another Berserk going to come over here and say, excuse you, Recon. Get out of here. As a raiding cavalry coming to the rescue of Recon, keeping that one alive. Over onto this side, however, a lot of units here from Grass getting caught out. He does blow the horn as he loses his ironry, and it looks to me like there's going to be a heroic age coming in pretty quickly here from Grass. And Recon doesn't really know this. He's just looking to put some pressure on. Builds up a really strong army. He's got himself none of the tier 2 armory upgrades, but he's spent all of his resources and he is going for it. As we see Skadi coming through, the villagers are going to be bailing. Another wall coming down. There is not safeguard in for Grass, which I have to say is probably a mistake here. Getting that safeguard in makes perfect sense. As the walls will come up over here, but an attempt to deny that. Just going to take out the buildings first and foremost as the villagers to come over here. And I imagine over onto this side, Recon wanders forward. He can wall this off. He can open this up as well. And all the other good stuff. Meanwhile, more military buildings for Grass. Normally, I'd say losing these buildings is pretty bad. It's a big amount of damage. But in the grand scheme of things here, I think this is just buying Grass time. He has equal villages. He's getting to the heroic gauge, and he has equal villages, which basically means he's in front on villages by about 6. 75 seconds of research time, and he's equal on villages. That town center not carrying anything. Wild. Recon still trying to find his way through here as the wall's coming up over here to lock this position off. One very important thing in this game is to do this. I said it once, I'll say it a million times. On these kind of locked off side maps, if you take a position, you got to make sure you take it. You got to make sure you take it. Don't let your opponent just wander back in there and rebuild. Very, very important. Recon pulling back. As Grass slowly starts to wander forward, slowly starts to get some more damage done, but town center over here coming up for Recon as he says, I don't even need a heroic age. You're playing so defensively. Let's grab a town center before we go next stage. And that'll help Recon stay equal on villages here. So long as he doesn't just straight up lose. There is always going to be a forest fire angle on this map as well. Here, he could forest fire here. He could come up here and forest fire here. He could forest fire over here. Or, yeah, anywhere. Anywhere to open this up. But Skadi now coming through. Town center about to be through. For Recon, he's got a couple of units up onto this side. I want to see Recon come forward and get aggressive on this position. Get a couple of buildings down. This is kind of the cool thing about Hideout, is how left and righty and back and forthy it is. You can't just go all down one side and not expect to get hit back on the other side. So now we got the bronze weapons to come through. Got bowsaw. We got shaft mine on the way. Of course, pre-queued. On the other side, grass. How fast can you get to Ragnarok? Very fast. He's already clicked up it. Is this a fast Ragnarok though? Is that an option? Does that work against Thor? Who's going Skadi? Who's got Frost? Who's got the Huntress Axe technology? Maybe you can get your access to Sons of Sleipnir, which makes your cavalry able to deal with those Thor and Axemen really, really well. And all the other good stuff. Nonetheless, Winter Harvest on the way. Upgrades starting to slowly come through. And Recon to move up here. Walls coming up. This is some incredibly tense Norse mirror action where both players are just trying to take these little advantages and take little parts of the map. Meanwhile, Grass is grabbing this town center. You can see that Recon's taking a slight villager leap. I don't think that matters all too much here. Town center to get denied for just a little bit as the infantry units will be bailing. I'm pretty sure Grass will win this fight though, as long as the Hearse are on the right units. But he will just pull back for now. Down onto the bottom side. Grass says, hey, if you're going to attack me on the left, at least let me kill off some wolves here. That's the Mythic Age, though. Now in. Fire Giant coming through. Couple weapons. Couple armor. Throwing axeman left, right, and center. Grass pre-queues his own Balder. He's grabbing himself stone walls. Does he want to get this town center as well? He needs to get a hill fort before he goes next stage. So a hill fort on the forward town center for the moment. Is there a trade route? If you're going to click Rag, at the very least, mark it in this corner to trade over to here. And then later on, after you're pushed out, put a market in the actual corner and reroute your trade route so you can get some big gains. Onto this bottom side, opening up the wall. Not a whole lot of units down here for Recon. I will say, there is a really, really cute alternative to Ragnarok, which is basically stay Heroic Age and get yourself as many armory upgrades as you can. When Rag comes, you need to get yourself around about 2,000 food and 1,500 gold or something. I can't remember the exact amount. And then you can just convert your entire economy into berserks and you can beat the heroes of Ragnarok that way. Town center on the top coming up as the villagers will need to start bailing. There's double layered walls over here. Town center is just going to get grabbed by Grass. Of course, he's probably just going to wait for 100 villagers before anything is going to actually come down here. And the Berserk isn't... Well, I mean, it's probably better if you've got Forseti, actually. Without Forseti, it's not so good, I guess, from Recon. So maybe I'm wrong on that one. It's definitely very, very, very good with anyone if they've got any types of upgrades for them. Are we just going to see a base trade here? Recon going after the villagers. Ragnarok clicked. As I think Grass feels like he can get in here and stop Recon before he gets to the next stage. Normally the player who wins a Ragnarok fight is the player who clicks Ragnarok second. Villagers do need to stay alive. He does manage to pick off two. Wait, no he doesn't. He could have. He pulls back. Heroes of Ragnarok slowly starting to move around the map as the throw an axe and get up a wall over here. We will see the undermine there to allow the Heroes of Ragnarok through as Recon will pull back to his next wall. No problems. The villagers pulling. And now, Mythic Age in. And surely, you just click Ragnarok if you're Recon, but he feels like he can hold off. He lost his town center over here. He's trying to get as many resources as he can. Frost gets dropped down onto this position. Villagers coming up to try and grab as much gold as he possibly can. What is the game plan here for Recon? He feels like he can't click Rag. Of course, he could just Frost this army here, no problems. And there he goes on the Frost in his main base. Up onto the top base, however, he's getting targeted down over. He's losing villagers. And now he's forced to click Rag, and he's actually behind. He's lost his town center as well. All of this just to click Rag anyways, as his heroes are going to be pulling back. Absolute disaster for Recon. He's got himself 2,500 gold in the bank, though. So if he does end up winning, he's going to be able to get out all of the dwarves very, very quickly. He has to win this fight. He should be... Oh, he's over on this side. Forest Fire coming through there from Recon as the Heroes of Ragnarok will have to pull back. This fight is very winning for Recon. This fight over here, however, I'm not sure. It's fighting underneath a couple of watchtowers, but even so... It's basically just Rag Hero versus Rag Hero. This army up onto this top side is caught out. Fire Giants getting whacked by Rag Heroes is the only thing he can really hope for. He's got to take those out before he then regroups. Town Center to come back up for Recon. He's got 0 left. On the other side, Grass is already starting to train villagers. But Grass has got no resources, so it almost doesn't matter. More units falling over here as the Rag Heroes on this back going down. And Recon says, let's go after your main base. Huh? Just pull back and deal with this army. He's so far in front on resources in the bank for recuperating this position. He just has to deal with this army, which he's got the answers to it, but he charges in with half of his army and he's losing even more. Throwing Axeman coming in. Good pullback from Grass. I mean, this game is so obscenely close right now. And the main problem here for Recon is he's got no population. He's lost all of his buildings. All of his houses dying. This portal ram cleaning everything up. Up onto the top, however, the town center will go down. He does not have himself burning pitch. So it's just going to be a regular amount of damage here as the units do pop out, trying to pick off as much stuff as he possibly can. Throwing Axeman, decide it's time to start taking out the Rag Heroes. Lots and lots of Rag Heroes falling here as Grass pulling back. There's going to be a Frost for both players available soon as well. The town center grab from Recon, though. Recon just can't get villagers out. So even though he's got all of these resources, he's going to put houses up here with 1 unit. Army coming up to the top here. He has to somehow beat this army. This is the tough part. They're going to go after the town center. It's all about micro right now for this top fight. If Recon can win this fight, he's got a chance in this game. A market coming up for Recon. I don't think there's enough units. Throw an Axeman, shoot and scoot micro. That's his best bet. Comes in, 1 unit taken out. Shoot and scooting to the best of his ability. The other units pulling back. Grass, he's feeling like he's got a very, very small amount of time. The shoot and scoot has stopped here as the Rag Heroes of Recon now going down. Somehow, some way, Grass is managing to convert this Ragnarok. There's no buildings left on the map here for Recon. He's shooting, scooting to the best of his ability, but Grass is doing the same straight back to him. He doesn't have enough stuff. Okay, hear me out. Temple? He resigns? I said hear me out. He didn't hear me out. He didn't hear me out. Temple and now Fire Giants for Recon. And guess what? He wins the game. And guess what? He wins the game. Of course, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that it's one villager versus two villagers, and he's got 2k resources in the bank, and he can just make Fire Giants and win. He doesn't know that. We know it. Grass gets away with it. Grass gets away with it. 2-1 for Grass. He strikes back. He takes the lead back from Recon. Well, that there was pure and unadulterated spice. Our next map is going to be Dry Arabia. Let's check it out. It's going to be a Kronos versus Isis matchup on Dry Arabia. Both the high first picks from both of these players. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you wanted some good games here, and these players are delivering. These players are delivering on a level ridiculously high right now. And I couldn't be happier. Like, you know, sometimes you get to the end of this tournament and you just go, well, we know who's going to win. Guess what? If you were to ask me right now, would it be Grass? Would it be Recon? Would it be Tunison? Would it be Kavoth? I cannot give you a good answer. I got no idea who's winning this tournament. Kavoth's got the experience. Recon's been to the finals the most. Grass has been the fourth place finisher for however long. He's got a reputation to uphold. Can he break it? Tunison as well, no experience this far into a tournament. This is his first, I think, finals ever. Well, we got another game. We got Kronos, we got Isis. I got to imagine here that Recon remembers a certain game he played in Champions League Season 4. A certain game in the group stages versus a certain refusal to play a regular game of Age of Mythology type player in the name of Mr. One Nyan Racing Cat. I expect to see a Kronos rush here from Recon. I expect to see Leto from Recon, and I expect to see Grass playing a very, very specific defense. At this stage, if you aren't banning Kronos, you're ready for Kronos. Every single one of your gods needs to have an anti-Kronos, needs to have anti-Kronos knowledge inside of it. Egyptian, Greek, it's easy with Greek. Egyptian, Greek, Norse, China, Japan, they all need to have their understanding of how to beat the Kronos rush. Well, Recon will do it. He's been playing incredibly aggressive in this tournament. He feels like this is the right way to play at the moment. He feels like that's the right way to play for him. Well, Dry Arabia is the map. If you're from Age of Empires 2, you'll know this one. If you're from Age of Mythology, well, you'll know this one because you've been following the tournament. Let's get going. In onto the map, Dry Arabia. Kronos versus Isis. Let's check it out. And off we go into the 4th game here in the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Isis. It is grass. Currently up 2-1 as Recon, yet again falling behind in the series. We've not seen him put a villager onto wood yet. 3 villagers, 3 citizens on gold, 3 on food, 1 on gold does indicate the Kronos rush. You don't have to go for it, but it does indicate it. Now, let me throw a completely different idea out here for Kronos on this map, in this matchup. Completely different idea, very, very strong. Immediate 2 citizens onto the gold, everyone else onto food, and we just start going for early oracles. Really, really powerful versus Egyptian because their priests aren't amazing versus Automaton. They're doing divine damage. Automaton's weakness is the hack armor. So they've got actually quite a large HP pool and very, very cheap. Insofar as to say that basically Automaton versus Priest are kind of very similar to a unupgraded Toxote versus a Zeus Hoplite type idea. And if you understand what that means, it's for equal population, the Hoplites will win those fights. But that's not what we're going to see. We're not seeing Leto. We're seeing Prometheus. We are seeing the temple coming in. It's going down onto the bottom side. Out of sight, out of mind. In this one black area around the base of grass. He's tried to find it with the obelisks. Not able to do so. If he does spot it, he's got all the time in the world to walk over here and shank it down and kill it. And then he can just pop over onto the elephant and eat it there. One thing here for Grass to do is, as soon as he sees... Actually, I don't even know if he can do this. He needs to drag this elephant in and under his town center very, very quickly. He hasn't even started a temple yet. Of course, he's got himself the monument to the villagers here, so he can put the temple in underneath his main base. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing as the Grass obelisk comes in. He sees the oracle, still hasn't spotted the temple. Perfect positioning from Recon. As the Prometheans, they're coming in. Hero Oracle as well, going to be joining in. Town center is going to be shooting back. The villager will dive into the tower onto the bottom side. Temple is now up. Villagers over here will have to bail. You don't want to lose anything. Just keep on grabbing resources. Grab pigs. You don't have to come over onto the hunt. Grab pigs and all the other good stuff. Healing up the villagers for the time being here. This is playing with absolute fire as he turns, takes the fight. What is he doing? Huh? He drops a villager there. More villagers coming in to try and shank this all down. Obviously, healing up with the villagers is an idea, but this is not ideal for Grass. He wants the gold to get out another priest. This is incredibly terrifying. Terma now going to start coming in. Terma now coming in. We see some houses attempting to come through here. The Anubis is so far away. And the other thing here is Grass has the resources to get himself... Is he going to lose another villager? He loses another one. Absolute disaster for Grass. Over onto this side, does pull back into the town center there. He's short 2 gold to get himself his watchtowers. However, is he even going to... Surely he gets watchtowers, right? Surely. Priest healing up everyone over onto this side. The Nubite can't really help out just yet. Barracks coming down. No Plague of Serpents getting dropped from Grass just yet. Not exactly sure what the plan is with that one. Maybe to go for another town center or something like that. As the Prometheans, Catapulties. Maybe over on this side, Plague of Serpents. Yeah, exactly. On that other side. But immediately, Recon going to turn and start slapping this down. Takes a while for those Serpents to actually come in. Oftentimes, the best usage of Serpents is before the action. But he charges in with his Anubite, trying to get some good damage done. We see another barracks up onto this backside to protect. Spearman coming in. And the heals from Grass. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The new bike goes down over onto this side. Deconstruction onto the barracks there, such that Recon can charge in. Another barracks going to be attempting to get thrown down here. Watchtowers at any point here now, as the deconstruction is down, would be an absolute end to this Terma aggression, but villagers going down, not ideal. It's only 200 resources, 100 gold, 100 wood. Not that big of a spend. And then you can click prosperity, no problems. Spearmen bouncing back and forth as the villagers, they need to, what are they doing? They're dropping off the resources, getting back onto this one. And I think Recon is successfully executing his Kronos rush. There's a refusal to get, just an absolute refusal to get yourself watchtowers in. I don't understand. I'm with you, Eclipse. Why doesn't he just get watchtowers? What's the problem? What's the objection? Of course, one idea here for Grass is to try and run in here and wall this back up, and then he can try and catch the Terma out by a wall here, and then maybe charging it over onto this side to catch them out there, but not going to be happening. Villagers popping back in. House, double house or something like that to come up. The wall. Nice move from Grass back onto his gold. But he's just falling so far behind here. The villagers! He keeps one alive. Caraballister is in. Wall does not complete. A pretty big mistake there from Grass. You want to click. You want to right click on the middle wall after you build it. And that'll build the entire thing in one go. Now this isn't AOM Vils being silly. That was the Vils behaving as normal. That was on Grass. I'm gonna go ahead and say that was on Grass. This Recon slowly making his way forward. Finally, watchtowers. Watchtowers are in. Let's go. All right, and Recon sees the spearmen charging forward. You don't actually need now to charge in. You just have to force the Terma to be thinking about you. Promethean coming in to try and take out the tower. Priest is in there to try and deal with that one. Damage onto the spearman as it dies as soon as it pops out here. And you guys might be like, oh, he got the tower up and Recon doesn't care. Yeah, but he got it now. He could have got it immediately. Immediately. And then this would have been well and truly shut down. I'm not even going to say it wouldn't have been. It would have been well and truly shut down. He probably would have been a tiny bit behind instead of very far behind, but he would have been okay to continue. Priest goes down. Another counter barracks, either coming in or leaving. I don't know what. Going after villagers over here. One very low HP villager will get sniped. Tower will finally go down. Or not finally. Will eventually go down on that other side. See a house coming up on this left side from Grass. He's just losing units left, right, and center. He's getting himself some wood on the top to start making some slingers. And now Recon backs off. He's still spamming units though, so there's no town center behind this. Wall coming up. Does manage to prevent the village. Oh, villager down to 4 HP. Wall gets broken down, and Recon can pop back in. One idea here from Recon, actually, is get his own towers. And then time shift his tower in here. This deconstruction onto the back gives back 200 gold. So, when you're asking me, why didn't Recon get watchtowers? And then you say, oh, maybe it's because of deconstruction. I say, deconstruction gives you back the resources you spent on the towers anyways. There's no reason to not. There's absolutely no reason to not. Grass pulling back. Slingers coming in. I mean, how many slingers do you need to get through all of these Terma, though? Mostly you're trying to deal with the Caraballister, which are going to be dominating your spearmen. As Grass says, all right, I'll pull across the map and at least try and get some type of damage into the main base, but Recon's already there with Mermillo. Who wins? Slingers or Terma? So it's basically equal. It's basically equal. But there's 23 Terma. And there's 8 Slingers. So the Terma win. Onto this side, the Mermillo. Trying to distract and knock off, but in doing this, this allows Grass to now pull back and try and do some stuff. We do see the watchtowers coming through for Recon now, and he can start time shifting towers across. A tower here, for example, would be brutal onto this gold mine. The villagers are going to wander into the middle of the map, though, for a sneaky gold mine. Grass is doing everything in his power to fight his way through this game. Priest healing up. Units starting to muster up onto this top side. Grass has got himself 3 barracks for the moment. He does get scouted here as the Mermillo are going to come through. And immediately the villagers will relocate. Potentially back to the main gold mine. Because if the army leaves, wall back up. Back onto this gold mine. And we continue along here. But the more Grass walks around the map, the more he doesn't gather resources, the further in front Recon has to be getting. And Recon's got a really big power play coming if he chooses to go that way, which is Heroic Age, which is Chaos, which is Satyr, or he can go for the more brutal play and go for Rhea, as, I mean, Grass here is attempting to get to the Heroic Age himself, and he does go for Nephthys. But he will have to bring his villagers back home. He spots the units in the middle of the map. Villagers over here are open on this wood line. But to some degree, Grass doesn't need this wood anymore. He can pull back into the goats, dropping prosperity on this gold mine here to get as much gold, or to just mine the entirety of the gold mine out is wild. That's absolutely wild. In getting to the Heroic Age, he doesn't really unlock the Migdol because there is a 20 favor deconstruction available. There's the army charging in over here. Spearmen or slingers doing what they can to hold on. These villagers will have to make a break for it here. He tries to get as much out of this gold mine as he possibly can. We see Rhea on the way. Pharaoh getting damage done. Spearman charging forward a little bit too early. He wants the Ancestors. Ancestors is going to be huge here for Grass, or at least it should be, as he's going to be moving forward. Villagers back to the front line, onto this gold mine, doing everything he can to play around this army. It's 32 villagers to 54, though. Grass dropping a Migdol. He's got to drop also a monument. He's putting up the monument to the soldiers. Got to get that monument up first, actually, here. But does this matter? There's going to be 2 behemoths coming. There's going to be 2 behemoths. The Scorpion Man as well. Got to keep him underneath the monument to the soldiers so it doesn't get stolen. Here are Mermillo's all coming through over here. Villagers on this wood line getting targeted down. Can Grass fight through it? Is the big question. Where's Gift coming in? For a little bit more favor. Random Spearman getting taken out. Grass is 120 pop. Getting himself slingers. Upgrade. Getting himself houses. Making chariot archers. Recon's being incredibly... How do I say this? Incredibly disciplined with this attack. Citizens onto a town center. Behemoth on the back. So the slingers will potentially be able to pop forward and get some good damage done. We do have the Spirit of Mart technology coming through for some extra oomph for those priests. Behemoth's coming around onto the side here as the priest and pharaoh can start immediately getting damage done onto those. Villagers need to pull off. They can potentially pull back over onto this gold mine, but the behemoth's coming in, going to take out the monument to the soldiers, and then he's going to be able to drop deconstruction onto this Migdol stronghold. And there he goes with it. As the Ancestors is coming through, Slinger's trying to charge forward and deal with this army. The army of Grass does seem to be dealing with the army of Recon. The town center for Recon on the back, however, will be completing, it looks like, unless the Slingers can do some Slinger magic and take the citizens down fast enough. It's 1 second from completion. He gets it up. But there's such a big army for Grass here. Has Recon thrown his advantage? Has he thrown the advantage is the question. He's got a second town center. He doesn't have that deconstruction anymore. He's got a 20 villager lead, which might seem like a lot, but if you can't win the fights, it doesn't matter. And he's picked Rhea over Hyperion, which is Hyperion is generally the power pick for Kronos in this matchup and in most matchups. The siege tower going to be rolling in to try and take down the town center. Grass needs to make things happen here. He has to put pressure on. He's got the advantage militarily, not economically. He's got to kill off a lot of stuff here. Siege towers will get healed up as they're pushing forward. Slingers coming through. Recon doing his best to try and hold on here. Scorpion Man gets traded as it steps outside of that. Well, there is no monument here. Scorpion Man gets traded, no problems as the priest deal with that one. Town center goes down. 42 villages to 70. Pontarius now starting to come through. But will Grass's army ever lose to this Recon army is the question. Grass moving forward. Miller's trying to take out these siege towers. One does end up falling. That's brutal. But the Slingers, Spearman, Chariot Archer, getting some huge damage down. Those Terma need to be attacking the Chariot Archers on the back or the Slingers in the middle. But Grass is microing incredibly here to take out that back line. It's 4.1k to 3.8k. However, it's looking like maybe, just maybe, Recon might be breaking through this. He's got the reinforcements, which is the big key thing here. Grass does not. Pulling back to his Migdol stronghold to try and hold on. Deconstruction is up in 14 seconds. Recon can pull back, regroup, and charge in momentarily. Town center coming up on the left side for Recon to get a population advantage. You can look to grab this one. He's putting a palace up over onto this side. I'd love to see some destroyers start to come through. Just coming over onto this bottom side for the rhinoceros and all the other good stuff. Town center over here has been spotted by Grass. Grass is going to lose his Camel Rider to it, but he gets the information in. Villagers over here getting hit is going to be brutal as Grass will pull back, but he's going to have to... I mean, at this point, you just take the losses with the army. You don't care. Just take villagers out and rebuild the army is perfectly fine and reasonable. I imagine Recon's plan here is to get to the Mythic Age through Atlas to actually break through this Isis army. We'll see if that's going to work for him. He's making some destroyers, some Contarius. Spreading out all over the map. Look at the map here for Recon. He's got so much line of sight. So many important things here. As the destroyers slowly starting to build up. Siege towers coming around onto this right side to try and take this position down. Still haven't put that monument back up here for grass, as there is that weakness to a deconstruction attack onto that gold mine again, but we'll see how things are going to go. Now the army for Recon yet again taking this fight. Chariot archers on the back, sitting in here doing what they can. Slinger's going to pull back, takes out a Caraballister there as the Spearmen frontlining nicely, but the siege towers will end up going down very, very quickly. There's no answers for the destroyers here in this army either, with 0 axemen, as the army of grass does seem to be falling here. And Recon will take game number 4. We could not separate these players anymore. I have to say, why did grass not get watchtowers immediately in this game? I don't understand. I want to. He didn't get pickaxe, so he was planning to get watchtowers, and then he just didn't research it. Not until 8 minutes. The rush started at 3. That's 5 minutes of you being rushed before you decide to get watchtowers. That's a question that I want answered. I want it answered, and I want it answered now. Nonetheless, a really well played game from, given the circumstances, from Recon. He managed to convert the Kronos rush into a victory. And we will see what's going to happen next, as we are going to be going in onto the map Frozen Wastes here, ladies and gentlemen. Frozen Wastes. Let's check it out. Drafting. Let's see what they're going to pick. And it looks like it's going to be a Fuji versus Set matchup here, which is another... Oops, these guys need to get flipped around. Which is another spicy matchup that I have seen before. We saw this... I think we saw this Rappel versus Karma in the first round, and it was a wild, wild ride from start to finish. A wild, wild ride from start to finish. Nonetheless, we got ourselves the slightest of delays before we jump into the next game. But a Fushi versus Set. What are the pitfalls here for both of these players? Of course, the Set very powerful here. We've seen Grass do some very nice Scarab timings. I think if Recon decides to opt into a very boomy 2 town center defensive play, I think you've got somewhat of an advantage here as Set doing the same. But you're going for a timing attack in the Heroic Age. Don't go for the Mythic Age, because that's where you give enough time over to the China to get to the Mythic Age themselves, in which case they unlock the Tiger Calf, in which case they unlock the Watchman Bucket, the Qinglong, and they're going to be in a good spot there. But what is a better idea is you basically 2 TC for like 2 Migdols, and then you just make a whole bunch of Chariot Archers and then a whole bunch of War Elephant, and you kind of just go. Of course, there's options on this map, nice and open, to go and raid with White Horse Cavalry, sit it out in the Heroic Age and try and make things happen, but this is going to be a really, really spicy one, and it's going to show a lot about basically China versus Egyptian in general. So if you guys are wondering how you play these matchups and all that other good stuff, there's no other better place to sort of figure it out here, unless we see a random cheese, which we might see. It could be possible that we might see a random cheese. I don't know. You never know. You absolutely never know. See, it's simple. It's simple. I actually think I need to delete that other scene. Anyways. We got ourselves 1 minute and 30 seconds of waiting before the next crazy matchup comes. If you guys are enjoying this tournament, if you just come in and you're new and you're just like, what's going on? Why is Age of Mythology got so many viewers? It's because Age of Mythology is an amazing game and you guys should be playing it. It's really fun. If you haven't picked up Age of Mythology, consider buying it. The campaign's amazing. Competitive scene is amazing. And all the other good stuff. Yeah? You guys agree? Surely! Surely! Alrighty. Fushi versus Set. I'm very excited about this one, but I also do need some water in my life at some point. I do need some water in my life at some point, so I'm going to make a dash for the water. We'll see how we can go. All right. Okay. Recon versus Grass. I don't really know what else to talk about. Yeah, Dry Arabia dried out my throat. But yeah, Frozen Waste is going to be a little bit more icy. Still need water, even if the sun's a little bit less hot. Still need to get that water into it. It's important. It's important. But nonetheless, off we go. Fushi versus Set. Are we going to see something crazy? Are we going to see something standard? Who knows? But it will get sorted out very, very shortly as we get going into game number 5. It's best of 7, first of 4. Let's check it out. Onto the map, Frozen Wastes. And off we go into game number 5. We've seen some crazy games, crazy aggressive games. We've seen some crazy defensive games. Both of these players are more than happy to play whatever the situation calls for. And Recon, love it. He is the epitome of this. For the longest time, I believe he had a reputation to be a very defensive player. And he said, guys, you're painting a picture for me that I don't believe is the case. He's told me that a million times. And I agree with him. He's Kronos rushed. He played a defensive game with Thor. He did it all. He's done it all this series. He played an aggressive game with Oranos. He played a defensive game with Ra. It's all been there. The whole style is there for him. He does whatever he can. Grass, on the other hand, a very similar approach. These guys are doing what is needed for them to win their games. They're doing what is needed to win their games. We got a question in chat about the drafting system. So basically, both players draft a god pool of 8 gods for this best of 7. So best of X plus 1. And then they can pick each one of those gods once throughout the series. They pick their gods blind, and then they jump into the game. Very simple. But nonetheless, we're seeing the ums coming through from our Set god here he is Set. Actually, what is he umming? Over here. So Set does have the ability to convert animals onto his side, so he can bring them back to his home to eat or use them in his army to fight. Whatever he does so choose there. We take a quick look at the actual map. It is surrounded by ice, so there's a lot of opportunities for raids here. Over onto this side, we have ourselves the settlement up for, or not a settlement, the settlement for Recon. Not really a whole lot of juicy stuff here. It's not the best town center. The one in the middle, obviously, is going to be a little bit more grabbable with the back berries, but I don't believe this is a town center game here for Recon, and he's deciding to go for Chi Yao here instead of Zhan Nu, maybe because that's the fact. He's going to be playing a 1 town center game. Grass, on the other hand, advancing through Anubis, 8 villages only on the gold. Lots and lots of villagers on the food still here, as the pharaoh is now going to move off to the gold mine, and a second monument coming through for grass. As these pioneers now starting to make their way across the map, looking for some early game harassment onto this Ford gold mine. Grass is playing with fire by not building these houses in a more appropriate manner. This villager going to be going down. He will have to pull it back, but as he runs away, as she runs away, she's going to get back up to some more appropriate amount of HP. No problems here. Just a little bit of harassment. Should not lose anything here as the heroes popping out, and a barracks will get dropped down over here, continuously pulling these villagers back, healing them up. Really shouldn't be a problem here, but it's painful as the villagers on the gold mine get pulled back. This one here, back home, no problems, and spearmen will be starting to pop out. Once the spearmen are in, these pioneers need to get out of here. Yatsa over onto this side says, hello there, I will get just a little bit of damage onto your sentry tower, as a great defense from grass. Utilizing the healing here from those priests to mitigate a lot of this damage. As the shoot and scoot here coming in. We've got that Yatsa comes in and eats up that spearman. Great move from Recon. The Nubites, spearman, a barracks for grass again in the main base here for Recon. Where to next? He's dropping an Imperial Academy, still not committing to a classical fight. But here's the problem for Recon. If he wants to go for a town center here and he gets caught, it's going to be brutal. I don't believe he can get one up at the moment. Spearman, there's enough spearmen, there's enough power from grass to make this work. In fact, I wouldn't even mind seeing like a Plague of Serpents getting dropped down preemptively here on top of one of these town centers so he doesn't have to worry about it. Maybe in the middle. There's more units coming through. The Nubites swing up to the right side. Yarts are going to be searching around onto the bottom, maybe sneaking into the main base to get some more damage in. This could be a fast heroic to some degree from Recon, but I mean his resources just look so town center-ish that don't know what he's going for, because I don't think he can get a town center completed unless he goes for a village center somewhere middle of the map here, and a pioneer does get spotted. That one might go down, as we do have a machine workshop finally coming through here for Recon. He sees all of these spearmen and realizes, oh, I better deal with this. Watchtowers comes through. Pioneer ends up falling over onto this side. The Anubite raid is brutal. One villager going to go down. A potential second villager going down as well. No. Manages to stay alive as the Najjar now out. And Recon, I swear he saw these spearmen getting built. I don't understand why it took him so long to react to this. Up to the top side, we see the Yahtzees coming through, trying to deal with these bad boys here. Priest will be over here to put a little bit of a kink in their step. As the Najjar over onto this side is a little bit of a scary thing there for grasses and Nubites, but we're still not really seeing that many units out for Recon. He's building a handful of fire archers. See a market now for Recon as he wants to go to the next age. I like this idea. Fire archer, white horse cavalry. Makes a lot of sense here. Fire archers force out slingers. Answer to slingers is white horse cavalry, way better than any other unit that he can potentially build. It's really hard to make use of fire archer and javelineer, the counter archer in the classical age for Fushid. Now Yatsa around to the side, looking for any amount of damage. These villagers here might get over here as the army will pop back in onto this spot. The Anubites checking out this position. The heroes are already in position to defend. And Recon Misses this attack. But that's not where he's going. He's going right down to the bottom. And he does get spotted. Ooh, does he get spotted? He stays out of line of sight. You can go onto the bottom, sneak around here, into the main base. There's not really a whole lot of good places to attack in that main base, apart from the gold mine, however. As the Najjar wandering through the middle of the map, trying to sneak in here. And Recon says, you know what? I'm terrified. Let me pull back. Comes over here. He sees the villagers on this spot. Any attempt at killing a villager? No. Gets the damage. Villagers pull back. And the Anubites are on the prowl here, they say. Get back here. But he should be okay, as now Gormang is pre-queued. But Nephthys is already on the way. This is such a tense game. Why are all these games so tense? Can't they just play a nice, cool, calm, collected, just stock standard game with like nothing too risky going on? Both players going heroic age. The grass will hit the heroic age first. He'll be able to drop a potential Migdol over here or something, no problems. He can walk forward and put a Migdol here if he really wants to. I don't think it really achieves a huge amount other than immediate pressure. There's gold mines on the right side for Recon to go to. And I imagine Recon is just going to drop a ballet here himself. Doesn't look to be any significant advantage either way in this game. One thing that Recon's not really doing is he's not really overdoing it on Kwafu. He's got 5. He's got 31 favor in the bank. And oftentimes saving this favor for unique technologies and then later in the game myth units is really, really important in this matchup. It's the Migdol now up. Grass can start making himself Camel Rider if he wants. Chariot Archer if he wants, and he does decide Camel Rider is the unit of choice there as the Anubites popping around over here. They do jump in. We've got ourselves the Ancestors getting dropped down, but all of the heroes are in here. You've got to micro those Pioneers, though. A huge attack to come in. Lightning weapons to come down as the ballet will be finishing. And then immediately the Forest Protection to keep everyone alive with Grass just sending it completely. We've had tension up until this point. Finally a release and Grass gets absolutely blown up with that attack. A great hold from Recon. An absolutely huge hold from Recon. Whitehorse Cavalry starting to come through. You see the Camel Riders, but do you make yourself Halberdier here at all? Do you make yourself Halberdier here at all? I don't know. Couple of spearmen ending up falling as the front line kind of dead here, but there's going to be some reinforcements coming in as Grass sees that and he will pull back. A massive moment there for Recon. He is now completely in the driver's seat in this game. Completely in the driver's seat in this game. Over onto this side, Priest starting to fall. Sky Lanterns coming in as well for Recon as he wants to see everything. He's missing his favorite technology. This technology here for China allows these Sky Lanterns to stay alive for a very long time. It's up onto this side. The Migdol Stronghold is placed, but it's not getting built. It's placed, but not getting built. And Grass goes, oh, whoops, delete, run, no problems. Up onto the top side, we do see the Najjar raid coming in, snipes the Pharaoh. The teenager has the mission and does manage to deal with it there as he will have to pull out, but he gets the mission accomplished. Turns around, he'll be able to take out that Camel Rider as well. There's a couple more Camel Riders to join in. But surely Recon can just push up to the top side here and just deal with this now, no? Without question, I feel like that's the case here. As we've got the heavy Camel Riders to come through for Grass. And Recon up onto this position. Looking to get settled. Over here we do have the raid coming in as the Peach Blossom Spring is getting grabbed, but where is he running? He pulls everyone. He pulls the wrong way. He does lose one villager, but into the tower, no problems. Meanwhile, Hooves of the Wind to come through will help out with the Camel Rider raids, as these heavy white horse cavalry will go up to 6.6 speed so they can catch up to the Camel Riders here. Onto the bottom side, another Migdol stronghold for Grass to come up. It's still tense, even though the big timing or the big attack from Grass failed and he's behind 4K score. It doesn't feel like he's that far behind. Over onto this side, military camps getting dropped. Walls are up to deflect a little bit. Another ballet to come in for Recon to secure this gold mine. Both players are still one town center. So I have to say this is anyone's game. If Recon slips up here in any way, shape, or form, you can go south for him very quickly. The Camel Riders coming through. Camel Riders do, in fact, win these fights. They've got a slight bonus. Not a slight bonus. A heavy bonus versus the other units. It's 10 hack times 2, so 20 hack versus these ones, which is 14.6 hack. So they do quite a bit more damage. I think these guys have got more HP, though. By quite a bit, actually. 15% hack armor, 169 HP. 19% hack armor, 194 HP. There's now Gong Gong, going to be coming through. And Recon is going to be aiming for his super powerful late game composition, as the only real answer for these Tiger Cav is, that's a raid on the bottom. The only answer for these Tiger Cav that are going to be coming is Spearman. And Grass has the Super Spearman. He's got Anubis. He can get the even more Super Spearman by going Horus, but he doesn't have the resources. He is behind on that regard. In that regard. Nishar coming back out. So the teenager will turn into the adult here with Gong coming in. There's no access to any crazy shifting sands plays to try and take out the town center. No tar. Walls are coming up all around on this side, but there's still the simple entrance over here. There's no attempt to really block that off with a building or anything. Chuck that up there or something like that is a perfectly valid response. Meanwhile, Recon says, let me just go all the way around the outside of the map, and we'll look to hit you somewhere. I don't know where, but we're looking to hit you. Does Recon have an idea here to attack? Maybe this Migdol? I don't know. Camel Riders coming around onto the side. All the units sitting behind the Migdol strong are the ballet for the time being. Units in the center of the map to protect these villages on the hunt, as the White Horse Cavalry do spot this. Camel Riders do spot the villagers on this gold mine, as Recon not paying attention there. He's going to drop a Kwafu and a peasant. Not the end of the world, but a little bit of pain there for Recon, as he's got to get some revenge fire in. Thoth got a choice for Grass is wild. The White Horse Cavalry managed to make the entirety of the move around as they immediately dive into the Migdol stronghold. Grass is going to be starting to poke this down with his pointy sticks as the army of Grass reacts here to defend. And immediately, Recon will have to pull away. A little bit of a random Anubite over here. It does get involved as the town center is attempting to come through. Surprised to see this town center going up, as the adult is through. He can also drop the Great Flood at any point, but where do you want to put it is the question. Another Qinglong coming through. I've also got the Yang Jian on the way. Big amount of damage onto this spot as Recon not even caring there's a Migdol stronghold here. Grass trying to split up his army a little bit so he doesn't take the full brunt of this Great Flood. He drops the Great Flood down, sending the units away from the position as the Migdol stronghold going to continue to go down. We've got the Tiger Cav in queue as well. Very low on HP, but still alive as Grass can pull back and heal up here. As the Qinglong coming through will get hit by the priest a little bit, but they will all go down. Does he lose the Qinglong? Yes, I think he does. Nice snipe there from Grass. Camel Riders up to the top side. So many resources in the bank here for Recon. How much is food? Food is expensive to buy at the moment. A bit of a raid over here is going to hurt onto this bottom side, pushing off of this gold mine. There is obviously Thoth. There's a meteor somewhere. Where do you drop it is the question. White Horse Cavalry getting chased down by the Camel Riders. This Jiangxia is slowing this army down. This Nijar, he's chasing the Nijar. Look at the damage the Nijar is doing though. Oof. Absolute oof. Third town center up for Recon. There's still a huge power play for Grass inside of Meteor. However, Recon at the moment playing against Thoth. His plan, his goal should be very simple. Get to about 50 villages on food, on farms, and get to as many Tiger Cav as he possibly can make. That's his plan. Ballet coming down again from Recon. I'd love for him to link this up as well. Just a little cheeky building down. Doesn't matter which one. The big way to increase your favor generation as China is to basically build ballets or build town centers. So you definitely want to link those up when you have the chance. As now, Grass looking for his big attack up to the top side. The Recon army is over on this position, trying to heal up on top of the forest protection here. As the town center may be going down. The bits of raids over here. Yangxian is not even close here to dealing with any of this stuff. As Recon will be dropping a town center. A nice little hit back from Grass. But it's 68 villages to 47. Grass does not have himself the technology Valley of the Kings just yet, which will give him a really big boost in economy. Or at least in military units, not necessarily economy, but a big boost in that. As the army says it's time to take a little bit of a fight. Drops the Qinglong over here. Not pulling the Qinglong back. Somewhat of a mistake there as the Meteor does get dropped down onto that back line there. There's not really a whole lot of units in here as yet again Recon manages to mitigate huge damage from a massive god power. But the town center now starting to go down. Grass still, Recon still waiting with his cavalry in the back. What is he doing? He needs to defend himself. He's making himself something not named. What is happening with these units? Can they not move? Does he not realize they're there? They're idle. I can click on them. They're definitely there. Recon comes over. He's trying to get his town center back onto this side, which gives him back his farms, which are very important. Over onto this side, the Phoenix Egg does need to get actually targeted down. Recon is actually winning this fight regardless of the fact that his army's not in here. He finally notices his White Horse Cavalry. He's like, oh, there they are. And without those units, Grass will still decide to tap out. And the game is done. And the game is done, and Recon is now up 3-2. He's up for the first time in this series. He's striked back. He's taken out a big powerhouse god for Grass in set. It didn't look good for Recon early on. He wasn't making decisions. He wasn't like, oh, my opponent's making spearmen. Let me make some fire archers. He goes, oh, wait, What do I do? He's making spearmen. What do I do? And then I have to get watchtowers. And he gets his machine workshop. And then he's trying to deal with stuff. But he does manage to survive here. Grass made an absolutely insane attack onto this position. A little bit unnecessary. Insane attack. Thought he could maybe deny the ballet. Couldn't manage to do so. Ballet gets up. Forest protection gets in. And that's all she wrote there as Recon manages to secure the dub for game number 5. It is first to 4 here. So now it's basically match point. It's not basically. It is match point. Recon needs one more win and he will be going on to the losers finals. Grass cannot lose this game. He has to win it. He's got to bring it back some way, some shape, some form. And you guys will not believe what we're going to be seeing here. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. I clicked on the wrong button. I'm not going to lie. Let's go over here. That looks better. You're not going to believe what we're going to see. It's Demeter! Da, 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 da. It's an arm wrestling match. No, Demeter's getting picked. I thought Demeter wasn't going to be a god we were going to see here. But, oh, Recon's on the wrong side yet again. But, there's another map to come after this, which is Budapest. Grass wants Zeus for Budapest. I guess you could play Demeter on Budapest. There's no real problems there. But Grass wants Zeus for Budapest. He doesn't actually play Noir. He picked it for reasons of there wasn't anything else to pick. Now he's got Demeter. He has to make Demeter work on Prairie versus Shennong, which is the last pick from Recon, by the way. This is a wild situation here. For those of you wondering what the win rates for Demeter has been in this tournament, I'm not saying Demeter is a weak god. I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving you win rates. I'm just giving you win rates. If I scroll down to the bottom, for the entirety of the tournament, Demeter has won 3 matches. She has, however, lost 11. In the actual main event, she has had 5 games played with a grand total of 5 losses. This is Grass's potential last game. He's got to change history. He has to make history to be the first player to win with Demeter in an S-tier tournament main event. That's what this would be. For Grass. History in the making right now. Can we see a game 7? We go on a game 7, says J Red. Can we see a game 7? It's going to be up to Grass to make it happen. It's going to be on the map Prairie, a tough map for every god. I'm not going to lie. This is a very tough map to play. It's very fun, but very tough to play. We're about to jump in. It's been a wild ride here. Let's see how it's going to go as we get into our 6th match on the map Prairie. Off we go. and off we go. Let me introduce to you. Oh, I think we got a little bit of a hiccup here in the playback. Let me introduce to you the newest addition to the Age of Mythology roster. One, Demeter the Golden, the goddess of harvest and fertility or something. Wait, what is she? Agriculture. I was close. Harvest and agriculture. I'm still learning, guys. I'm still learning. His opponent today is Recon. I said it already. I'm going to say it again. This is Grass's last. Or this is Recon on match point. This is Grass's last lifeline in this tournament. If he loses, he's out. He can't lose again. He's got to win this one. He's got to win the next one to then get a couple of extra lives. Demeter. Let me walk you through Demeter. Demeter has been played 5 times. Has yet to win in the main event. Options. Option number 1 for Demeter. I love this option for Demeter. I think it makes the most sense. Whether or not it is actually the most powerful, maybe not. But Pan's Pioneers from Pan and a village center from Demeter is an amazing way to open because you get an extra werewolf and you can then react to whatever your opponent's going to do. If your opponent goes for a crazy all-in, you can defend it. If they go for a second town center, you can go for a third town center. Why can you go for a third town center? Because you got Pan's Pioneers. And that allows you... Never mind, we're seeing Ares. And that allows you to then go for a third town center, which is almost free because you get 2 werewolves for it. So that's the thought process there. But this is going to be Ares for Grass. The other option, very, very powerful, is a fast heroic. The other option is a fast heroic. Why? Because there is an incredibly powerful unit where I would argue personally that the majority of Demeter's power budget is in this unit. If you don't use this unit, you're going to have somewhat of a struggle in these games. And that is Icarus, the flying, area of effect damage, ranged hero. Orpheus wandering across the map. He's going to look for some early game harassment as the age up from Grass is pretty quick. I'm going to start poking away at these guys, but the Pioneers will be in to cause some problems here as we'll see what Recon can do to defend. He's not yet in the next age. He can basically dodge these projectiles. You have to... Okay, how does the projectile work? It works the same as a priest projectile, which means it's got ballistics straight off the bat. So you have to wait for it to shoot and then move the other way. That second age is now in. Orpheus is pulling back. And Grass has dropped a stable. So he is looking for somewhat of an early game investment here before going anywhere else. Relics on the map. Let's have a little quick look. We've got Hestia's Hearth. We could have 2 Hestia's Hearths in this game. That's wild. Over on this side, we've got the Nose of the Sphinx. Building HP going up. Over on this side, the Scales of Echidna. Food with gold minus 15%. And at the top of the map, we have the Titan's Treasure. Am I wrong in saying that I don't think Grass has picked up Relic the entirety of this series? Am I wrong in that? I think I might be. The Yahtzee does manage to make its way in here and... Oh my, Grass drops a villager. That's huge. His heroes are out in the middle of the map and Recon sneaks around the side, gets massive damage in. And the hero, Iolaus, will have to come back in and deal with this. Now, Iolaus has got 5.6 speed. He is more than capable of taking out the Yahtzee. Question in the chat about the Blood and Bones pack. Yes, we will see that in the next... that's out next week, I think, right? So, yeah, we'll see that in the finals, which will be cool. There's the villager coming over. Is this going to be another kill? Another snipe is gigantic. That is the biggest oof you will ever see. 2 Vil picks with a Yahtzee, and that's the free Yahtzee as well, is a massive win for Recon early on. Recon's making himself halberdiers. He's going to have to go into javelineers as well soon. But he doesn't yet see the Toxotes, as now he does. And immediately a halberdier and a Wuzu javelinier will be queued up. Meanwhile, the Cyclops throws that unit away and immediately falls. That's brutal. Hippias going down. Recon not being friendly to grass in this game. Hippias over here getting taken out. Almost does fall down there. Another Cyclops is in. You've got to deal with these units here. He's not microing. He tries to send the units on top of the Pioneers, but they picked off 2 Cyclops at the moment. And the Javelineer is going to be poking Toxotes down. As I think Recon is well and truly in the driver's seat here. Military Academy up. Stable up. Archery range up. For everything under the sun here. This is not looking good for grass. He has not managed to find an advantage. He, generally speaking, like, okay, let's break it down. If you play like Zeus or you play Hades and you want to play one town center versus China, like one town center classical fight, you generally go like Hippias, Toxotes. That's generally what you do. The reason it works is because you have restoration. You don't normally do Ares versus China. You don't really have a god power to use. And of course, if you're Poseidon, you can do things like Hippias Center, or you can do a town center and be completely fine because you have ceasefire. And this isn't really making a whole lot of sense from grass to play this way. I did think he would try and force a whole bunch of pioneers out, a whole bunch of kind of javelineers or useless units out, and then get himself Icarus who can actually deal with those by himself. Now Recon on the march forward. The Hippias and Iolaus and everyone else will be needed to help defend this position as Recon moves forward. Hoplites are in here, so that's going to be a nice little assistance as these Hippias need to come around. He clicks onto the palm tree! Oh no. 1 villager down. 2 villagers down. The halberdier coming onto the back line there. Lightning weapons will get dropped here. Can grass break through this? More halberdiers starting to make their way forward. The Hippias will end up falling, but there's no answers for the hoplites. A good tech switch from grass. As Iolaus does end up falling. A good tech switch from grass, but Recon here can just run. Of course, the pioneers are going to fall, but he picks off the final Hippias there. But a nice hit back from grass. He's not out of it just yet. He's not out of it just yet. Do we see a fire? Do we see a machine workshop? No machine workshop from Recon as a reaction is a little scary. You definitely want to make fire archers when you start seeing hoplites. There's no reason not to. There's units charging in here. We'll be able to get those reinforcements in. Well, hoplites will go down as the Wuzu Javelin is going to start sniping the Toxotes. But the big problem here for grass is that the differential in villages is now 29 to Recon's 39. And Recon has got himself 6 Kwafu. 6! He's about out of his home gold mine, but he does have this one as well. No problems. And Recon realizes he's got a little bit of a weakness over onto this side, so he's going to come over here and just sit on that. As Grass is playing very defensively himself, I'm still surprised to see him massing units. Like, oh, these villagers as well need to get another storehouse. I'm surprised to see him massing units here and not just going heroic age. Nonetheless, Halberdiers coming through. Toxotes, Hoplites, all the other good stuff. There's still no fire archers though, so I think Grass is catching. He could catch Recon out a little bit here. The problem is he's only got 3 hoplites, and the rest are going to be those Toxotes, which unfortunately Toxotes are amazing, right? They have a crazy high amount of DPS. The problem with the Toxotes is they've got 15 range, and they're fighting against the 17 range medium Wuzu Javelineer. So yeah, no, these Toxotes don't have a great time here. If Recon splits up his units, sends his Javelineers in by themselves, and starts poking, then life is very, very tough. Still making Halberdiers rather than Fire Archers here. Of course, he needs a front line of some sort, but I'm surprised to see this as the Javelineers going after those Toxotes on the back. Trying to pull in with his Javelineer. They are taking out that back line. Great control from Grass, though, as he does manage to survive for the time being. These Hoplites are doing amazingly as the micro from Grass, very, very nice, but the Javelineers looking too strong here as the numbers of Toxotes dwindle down to 2, 3, 2, 4. We got there in the end. Goldmine finishing. He's got the goldmine on the back that he can go to. 2.6k to 600. Still not a single... Oh, he's got a machine workshop, but not a single fire archer is out. And unfortunately, for all of us who wanted to see a Game 7, it's not going to be happening on this day. The Demeter cannot carry Grass through for game number 6. And Recon will be moving on to the losers bracket finals to meet the loser of Tunison and Kavoth next Saturday. What a time to be alive.